Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sins and Consequences, a Blades in the Dark actual play podcast presented by Dragon's Greed Gaming. This week, we're down a player. Adam decided that he wanted to spend time with his father instead of spending time with us, and I personally am incredibly offended.
I took it personally too.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's really kind of lame of him, honestly.
It's just one of those things where it's like, your dad sounds really cool, but like, is he cooler than me? I need you to answer that question.
All of our combined coolest too.
I think he did answer that question. I think what he's saying is that his dad is cooler than all of us.
He answered with his actions.
It hurts.
Mm-hmm. What if his dad is Liam Neeson? We don't know he's not.
I really hope he doesn't show up at these out.
Took a big swig of my coffee. All right, we're here. We're ready to go. First things first, some business off the top. The music you're listening to right now, and you'll hear throughout the episode, was written and composed by Sydney Fable. You can find their stuff on YouTube in the description below. You can check out their glam rock band, the Blam Blams, available on Spotify and on YouTube. What else do I want to talk about? Very quickly, we're recording this, and this will probably come out in about 2 weeks. So, yeah, it'll still be October. It's Spooktober over here at Dragon's Greed Gaming. We got a lot of stuff going on. We have an episode of Eat the Reich, which is a game about vampire commandos killing Hitler. That I'll be running on the 17th. We may be doing it as a live stream, but probably not. But the episode will drop before Halloween. We also have another game by Rowan Rook and Descartes, the same people who do Spire and Heart, that I'll be running, called Hollows, which is apparently like Bloodborne, where instead of picking classes, you pick weapons, and that's what defines your character. So that's it's an interesting one. It's like very tactics heavy, but it's also like very, very grim, dark Victorian stuff. So I'm excited to check it out. And what else we got going? Some stuff on the live stream. So they'll be live streaming on Halloween evening if you're available. They're going to be playing Dread, which Ethan, have you ever played Dread?
Ooh, it sounds familiar. I got to see the cover.
I guarantee you haven't. But it's one that I would pull out at a party with my friends who don't play TTRPGs. The premise is you guys are playing as characters in like a horror movie setup. And anytime you take a risky action, you have like a Jenga tower and you pull a block out.
Oh.
And your character dies when the tower falls. And then you rebuild it and start over.
Man, horror games have come so far from like 20 years ago. Like horror games used to be like, here's a VHS tape with like, spooky sounds and stuff. And you'd play this game and then like the guy on the VHS would be like, all right, stop. Whose turn is it? You now suffer. And it'd be like, this is so lame.
Yeah, no, it is. I remember one. I know exactly what game you're talking about because we played that game together. And I remember just like it would be like ambient music and then this like face would show up and he'd be like, ooh, I'm so spooky. And then
you're like, there's no replayability to a game tied to a VHS tape. Like
you say that, but we played it all the time.
Look, when you didn't have a lot of options, it can't really like blame your childhood selves for playing a bad game.
Yeah, that's true. Did anyone here play Seen It?
Oh my god, yeah.
So
the thing is, like, I think it was Disney Scene what we had, and then like we played it so much that eventually it just became a like who can scream the answer the fastest.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's funny because I was like 10, right? But me and my stepdad used to play it all the time, and sometimes my mom and my sister would play. We would be like sitting there, but then like it would just be between me and my stepdad to see who could say it first.
Who could remember it
and
first.
So it's like me as a 10-year-old. It's like there's like a single red blotch, and I'm like, it's American Beauty, and they're like, no, it's not, Aaron. You don't know what that movie is.
Exactly. Like it's like you don't even know what half these like things shows are, but like you've learned what the answers are. Like I don't know what that is, but I know what the answer is.
Yeah,
You can't
the
tell
French
me what to
connection.
do.
It's like making a Simpsons reference, having not seen what it's referencing. And you're like, that's good enough for me.
Fair enough. You know
It's
what
like
else is good enough for me? Ethan, introduce yourself. Now that you're
As you're
taking
taking a
drink.
swig.
Yeah, perfect timing. Hello, my name is Ethan. I fell off the face of the earth last week, but I found my way back, which is great. I've had a pretty uneventful week. I've been having, so at work, I work at a company where we're all like, my team is all remote employees. And so it's kind of on me because I'm kind of leading them to go, hey, we need to like book an onsite. And I'm supposed to do it like a year ago. And every 2 or 3 months, I'm like, oh, I'll do it this time. It doesn't really work out. And just this humming and hawing. And I finally was like talking with family and I'm like, oh yeah, like, I guess I'll like drive up and visit folks like the weekend after Thanksgiving. And then I'm like, well, if I'm in town already, I'll just book it then. And so I did, and I got a huge kudos from my boss because they're like, wow, thanks so much for saving budget by like not flying in. And it's like, you're welcome. I'm going to take like an extra day and a half off, and you know, everything's coming up Millhouse. So I'm just kind of riding that high right now of, you know, doing what works for me and then getting rewarded for it. So always nice when that fails out that way. But
Being proactive. It was part of the plan.
yeah, it's all the long game, right? Yeah. But
Hell yeah.
in this session, I'm going to be playing Vey Helker and Drillbit. Vey, in the last session, more so the one before that, did a very large occult ritual and got so stressed he's now super vicious. So we're going to see what that's like as far as personalities. That's going to be fun to play with. And then is also completely maxed out on stress. So there's going to be some amount of praying and religion, I think, in this episode for Vey. And Drillbit, I don't know. We're going to maybe see about, cleaning up the streets or something. That's what he's good at.
I would love if
He's into
Joel
community service.
if we had
He's just been-
time, I would love a story arc where Jolbit is secretly a vigilante. He's the Batman of Duskwood.
Yeah, I'm cleaning the streets.
Just fighting people with a mop, and it's like holding back because it's like, I'm a robot, it's not fair. I'll just fight you like a normal person. But yeah, no, that's pretty rad, and I'm glad to hear that your bosses are ecstatic with your work. We'll go hop over to Dio. Dio, how's life? How are you doing?
I just got a pedicure not too long ago. That was great. So I went to this new place because my roommate and my wife would just wanted to go get pedicures, and I'm like, okay, sure. And like I've been before, and they've been lackluster, but this one they wrapped my feet in some kind of weird plastic, and they burned my feet first and foremost. It was like this weird purple like gunk, and they kind of like encased it, but like afterwards I felt because I walk all day at work, and like after just I guess having a foot steam bath or steam bath, I don't know what it was, but my feet feel phenomenal.
Well, there you go. That's good, I guess. I think they burnt your feet, but then you were fine with it.
In a good way. Good way.
Good burn.
They
Good
burnt
burn.
away the sins from your feet.
and I filled up all those sins with for anybody who's from Chicago, they would know what a combo is. It is an Italian sausage and Italian beef in French bread. And my favorite way of eating it is with mozzarella cheese, dipped in au jus sauce, and with sports pepper, or with giardiniera, which is like just pickled peppers with like cauliflower, carrots, and a few other things. It's phenomenal.
Fair
I
enough.
just couldn't get.
It does sound good. It does sound real good, Dio. Yeah, and I guess you won't be playing as Albatross this week, unfortunately, but you will be playing as Albatross's older brother.
Fuck no and fuck yes.
There we go.
Albatross got his pretty little face ripped out through his eye holes.
Yes, unfortunately. As of what happens to the best of us and the rest of us too. Speaking of the rest of us, we'll go to our last player here. Her name is CJ. Tell us what it's like to be CJ this week.
What's like to be CJ is what it's like to learn to finally play VR. Well, I played VR once. I played Beat Saber once at a arcade, but I got a VR headset for my birthday, and I finally got it all set up because like I had some cords missing and whatever. But I mean, it was a free headset because I got it for my birthday. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not gonna complain. But I finally got in. I'm just like, okay, this is going okay. And like, so the only game I have currently in VR is Minecraft because I just had Minecraft. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna finally go into this world. And then like, it first starts off in a view where you're like sitting on like a chair and you're looking at the screen. I'm like, no, put me in. I go in. I'm really like immediately just like,
oh, did you throw up?
I didn't throw up. I wanted to throw up. It's like that dizzy kind of like I moved in the game and then I'm just like, oh, my brain says I'm moving, but my body says I'm not moving. Disconnect.
They call that sea legs, and I discovered that the hard way too because and I'll ask what kind of headset you have after, but like I picked up a Rift S myself, like in the beginning of COVID, and I played Half-Life Alyx, which I highly recommended, and Super Hot, which is also highly recommended on VR. Which Super Hot's a lot easier to play with, but like Half-Life Alyx, just because it's a lot more intricate with like what you can do in the environment, and because you're moving around like if you were playing Half-Life, I forced myself to play it, and like
that's what. Yeah, you gotta acclimate to it. That's what I learned. So like, I did a little better the next time I went in. I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down. I'm not gonna move as quickly because I think that was the problem. Is that I just went full like sprint mode, and it was like,
well, and you might want to start on like lighter games and then move into the third person walking around stuff. And so like start with like Tetris Effects, and then ones where you don't move, and then ones with you move, because there's something with walking and not moving that just like. Your brain's like, oh, well, clearly I'm poisoned, so let me throw up.
Another recommendation they have for it is teleport movement. Like instead of doing because it just like the next frame is immediately like, oh, I'm in this next spot. Just move on from there.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, that's pretty rad. Tell us about Myri. Myri's has got some ideas. She's up to no good.
Myri's doing stuff. I'm sure she's gonna be taking some heat from what she did last week. Hopefully people won't be able to immediately blame her. Gonna be riding on just like, I don't know what happened, guys, with my no pips in any social ability.
Well, and that's one thing that Adam's character Ludes is not here, because Ludes has the ability to discern if something is a lie.
Oh.
So when you talk to Ludes about it, he may be the only one to actually know the truth. But I feel like if anyone were to know, it's probably better him than someone else.
Yeah.
I was excited for that interaction though, because I was waiting for you to lie to Lude's face.
That's true, because I did forget about that ability. Yep. I would have lied to Lude's face.
But so that's our players there, and I guess there's me. I'm Aaron. I'm the GM of this game. That would be Games Master. Speaking of mastering games, I'm playing Divinity 2 Original Sin. Yo, and I'm having fun with it. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I've already started. I just got it today, actually, or last night I downloaded it, but I fell asleep before it actually finished. So I've been playing it off and on all day. I've already started the main campaign over 3 times because I was like, I don't understand what choices I'm making, and apparently I don't like being a ranger at all.
That is so tough with new games. You go in and you're like, it starts you at like, build it, and you're like, build what?
Yeah, exactly. And so it did take me a bit. I'm playing as a conjurer right now, and I'm enjoying it. Making elementals and having them attack people, because that's what good people do.
How do you feel about the class tree? Because I've always seen I've seen how expansive it is, like just kind of all directions that you could go with just one class.
Well, it's you can pick any skill you want in the game. I'm still pretty early on, so like I'm kind of focusing in on stuff that makes sense for the class that I started as, and I'm just kind of leaning into it. But your main character, in fact, any character in the game can learn like any skill in the game, and then if they take enough time and develop it and read the right books, they can just completely change classes. So like my conjurer could become a rogue if I get my thievery and sneaking and stuff up high enough, and then learn some sword mechanics. But right now it's I'm just focusing on summoning and launching fire at people, because that's just what my heart wants. And I'm having fun with it. It is a good game. You can tell it's made by the same studio that made Baldur's Gate 3 for sure. It's not quite as advanced, though. I do get to talk to animals, and I have a cat and a squirrel that follows me around. So I'm very excited about that. The squirrel rides an undead cat.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that, I don't know. My life is pretty good. I got to eat some more pogos today because my wife wasn't home for dinner, which means I get to eat the absolute awful bullshit that just comes from the frozen section at the local Walmart and not feel bad.
It is both the cheapest and one of the most convenient foods. Is the put it on a plate and zap it and eat it.
Yeah. Well, so like, cause like my wife doesn't actually have a problem with eating frozen foods and microwave meals and stuff. The problem is that we both really like it. So I make a point of like never really buying that stuff when it's just the two of us, because I want to eat better, and so I make food every day. But the second she's gone, I just like completely start eating junk food, and it's amazing.
And that's why today's sponsor is Factor Video, or Factor. With Factor, you can get easy meals delivered straight to your house.
Yep.
And you can conveniently cook and eat and not feel bad like eating pogos.
Yeah. So I actually have eaten Factor meals. They are really good. Like really good. It's kind of crazy how good they are.
I just hate the packaging they come in.
Well, that's the same with everything, right? Like Keurig's such a good idea until you realize that you're destroying the earth every time you drink a coffee.
It's not even like it's not like that for sure, but like the packaging that all of the packages come in, like the box that you get for delivery comes with like these weird gel pack things that like are there to keep it insulated or to keep it cold.
They say they're recyclable, but they're not really. The outside bag is recyclable, but the inside is trash.
Yeah, but like because we didn't know what to do with it. My roommate and I opened a bunch of those bags, and we had that solution all over our driveway. And we're like, "What?"
No.
Well, it's
yeah. Which part of it was me being stupid and like having fun with a knife in the plastic bags to try to recycle the stuff, but like it's a weird gunky solution, and I'm pretty sure it's not healthy for my skin.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But yeah, well, speaking of not being good for your skin, Duskfall is a city that you guys play a game inside of. That's the setting. This game is called Blades in the Dark. So let's talk about Blades in the Dark. Last week we committed a particularly daring occult heist over at the Ministry of Preservation. It came about that the best way to rob the museum would be to just take the entire museum.
Just take it. The whole.
Just take the whole thing. So 2 weeks ago, we checked in with Vey, who was performing a ceremony at the jail within the chapel, locking people inside with him as they cavorted and chanted and it was quite traumatizing for Vey, and as well as probably for some of the other people in there. But they aren't player characters, so we don't track their stress. Thank God. But
and they're in jail, so they've probably done something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. They deserve it because they're criminals. But we we had a lot go on. We did lose a character. We lost Albatross to none other than Jacob Bridgewater, or specifically Jacob Bridgewater's faith in their deity, the man under the willow tree, who took it upon himself to end Albatross's life and to complete the ritual. Right before the very end of the session, Myri revealed that she had purposely gone out of her way to mess with the ritual so that the whole museum would travel, but the heart itself moved to a different location, and it was revealed that the heart was left with the circle of flames. Important to differentiate between player knowledge and character knowledge. Your characters do not know that this is caused by Myri or that the heart is with the circle of flames. And with all of that being said, we're going to check in with Vey at the prison. Vey, you had just completed this ritual. And we talked about how the heartbeats that you had left remaining, the number just kept changing as this ritual was going on. And there was a moment where it hit 0. And I want to go into what happened during that moment.
Yeah, let's dive in.
During that moment, you are standing kind of like, it feels like humid. And you're, there's water up to, your, like just below your knees. It's almost completely dark, except that you can see like this faint glowing like white light off in the distance, and you can see a silhouette of 2 men. One of them is probably about 8 feet tall, and the other looks like a regular human, but he has a long pointed devil's tail. You see the larger man grip the skull of the other one, and he whispers, but it's weird because even though he's whispering, it sounds as if he's whispering into your ears. And he says, "You need not be burdened by the flesh any longer. Be free, my little bird." And with that one swift motion, he pulls the man's skull apart.
So metal.
And the larger man, the silhouette, approaches you.
As he approaches, Vey will do a quick bow down and then go back up to meet him as he comes closer.
So you see that this man is walking above the surface of the water that's coming up to your knees. And so as you go to bow, you like kind of glance down at the ripples in the dark water, just like reflections of light you can see. And when you look up, he's like immediately right in front of you.
So quick.
And he proffers to you a small red stone.
Sorry, you said proffers?
Yes.
Can you use it in another sentence?
Yes. My bank proffered to me that they would offer me a discount on my next month's bill. It just means like they're giving it to you, but it's like a fancy way of saying it.
Fancy offer.
It is too fancy for my blood.
The implication is that it's something that they know you'll take.
Yes, that is fair. And as the stone is handed over, they will grab it and hold it to his chest.
And as you do, you hold it to your chest, and when you open it, it's gone. And you go to look and all of a sudden you're just staring at the ceiling of the chapel. You blink a couple of times, and that's when you see your life count has increased. The number of heartbeats you have left remaining have nearly doubled.
I'm invincible. No.
Yeah. Do you want to gather information about this, perhaps? That is something that you might consider doing in the upcoming time.
Yeah, well, there's definitely plans, especially with the level of stress, that Vey is going to be spending a lot of time this session in the chapel, I take it.
Yeah. And before we get into that, I want to take a moment and ask Vey to make his prison roll. And we'll just describe kind of the aftermath of this ritual and how it affected your time in prison.
Ooh, I love it. Do I do the fortune roll for that one?
It's a fortune roll, and you get several bonuses.
Is that like 4 dice?
Yeah, it is a 4-die roll for you. Because of the spider ability, because of other claims that you've taken.
Oh my god!
Okay, let's take a look.
For the audience at home, that's 4 6s.
Yes,
4 6s.
That is the
no
most
more rolls. No more rolls.
Don't roll anymore.
Yeah.
That's a double critical.
Vey's eye starts to glow like he becomes a god.
Ooh.
So, I definitely think that the rumors have been going around that Vey really knows what he's doing in this prison.
Don't fucking mess with Vey. Give him whatever he wants.
And I think this makes a lot of sense given what happened. You make a name for yourself inside. You gain 3 rep for your crew. So this is before payoff. So as a result of your ritual, the crew itself will gain 3 rep. I'm going to add that to your character sheet right now. Where are they? So you're going to gain 3 rep. You will gain another prison claim and a +1 faction status with the faction that you assisted while you served your time. So take a minute and think about that.
Yeah.
But I will quickly describe, just as you're looking up at the ceiling, you can sense like a combination of like people still continuing to chant and kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen or been at like a church where people speak in tongues.
Just on YouTube?
The religious fervor that kind of follows. You see several people kind of doing this, like they're just writhing in like religious ecstasy as they just are smuttering nonsense. One of them is like literally frothing at the mouth and then just vomits on the floor. You see several people trying their best to break down the door, and eventually you stand. And as you do, it all kind of just stops. Everyone looks at you. And I assume that you like give a whistle or some sort of signal, and the doors open.
Yeah, they would give a quick little, like, thank you, my children, for coming out here. We were absolutely successful, and I feel the warmth of soul within me, and he came, and we were victorious. Leave now and tell others, and be back again on what's a weekday in this?
I remember Market Day is one of them.
We will be back on Market Day.
Yes. I believe that there is a calendar I've sent like a long time ago, so I don't blame that you don't have it handy. But yes, so we take a moment as the people kind of quietly, the ones that didn't want to be there anymore, leave quietly and quickly. The rest look at you with some sort of reverence. We cut over to the museum. Underneath by the waters where you have that mechanism to baptize people. The doors have been opened by Ludes and Myri. Inside is when we discover that there is no heart. Ludes is conflicted, I'm sure. Myri, perhaps relieved. But then when you take a look around the rest of the museum, and you see priceless artifacts littered all about. Priceless display cases made by master Taikarosi artisans, worth quite a bit of money. And so we should talk about payoff. Your crew earns 2 rep per score by default. You also gain 1 rep per 1 tier higher the crew, the target of the score is. So that, in total, is going to be 6 rep coming your way.
Filled up, baby.
Yeah. So your reputation is filled. It's overflowing, but unfortunately it does not spill over.
Always gets me.
Yeah, your cup does not overflow with. But what might be overflowing is your coffers. As we talk about the coin.
Money.
According to the rules, 10 plus coin would be a major score, impressive loot. You guys stole an entire museum. You have a crew contact that specializes in selling antiques. Unfortunately, he is only able to get you 24 coin at this point in time.
Oh, that's pitiful numbers.
Hutchins.
Well, he has to take his time and fence it, and he has to leave the nation of Akaros in order to sell these goods.
On the plus side, it's so much easier to sell goods when they have display cases. And so it's kind of a win-win on that side.
We've already got them all boxed up, ready to go. Got little name plaques and everything.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say everyone should fill up their coin. And then we'll just start counting down. Your vault and your coins slots are already full. And we'll just keep track of what's left. We do eventually have to go over heat, but I want to talk about the good stuff first. Yeah, actually, you know what? There's no other good stuff. We're just gonna go right over to heat. The city is full of private
Not yet.
lies
I want to
and
talk about the good stuff. That's it.
Oh wait, that's
All
it.
right.
Well, I thought maybe there'd be more. I forget. But, so I am going to say that at base, you're going to take 6 heat for wild and devastating exposure.
The Soul Seekers did what?
And to be fair, Ludes was directly spotted by one of the guards.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right before and right after, that guard spent some time and was like, I don't know if we hired someone to hunt a spirit bird that we've never seen before. And so he took some time to make sure that he knew that that man wasn't supposed to be there. The entire building was shaking and beat with the heart of Kotar. And then the museum is gone, which means that like the building itself is like structurally unstable, and like people's like walls are gone.
I can see that making headlines. That's fair.
Yeah.
How do you lose a whole building?
Well,
All fired.
and we'll add an additional heat for a high profile or well-connected target. We'll add another heat. Or no, we'll add just two more heat after that. For a total of 9 heat. Because killing was involved. Albatross died.
I mean,
I care about him.
I mean,
That
given the circumstance,
yeah.
I mean the body went with the body went with. Wait, is the body still in the museum?
Yes, it is. That is where we will be going after we talk about heat, and after we talk about mechanics, we probably will have a send off for Albatross. Depends what everyone else wants to do. But yes, there's 9 heat coming your way, because even though like it's a little bit iffy on if killing was involved because it was technically on a different plane, I feel like 9 heat is an appropriate amount of heat for taking an entire museum.
Honestly, fair.
I don't think I can argue.
Yeah. So that would be enough to push you up 1 whole wanted level.
Oh, it doesn't have to
Doesn't have to overflow?
overflow?
Heat does overflow, but there's exactly 9 pips in the heat track. So
But like stress, it's like there's 9, but it can go up to 9, and it's 10. That's the trauma. But this is like fill it, and
Yeah.
Okay, I see where you're getting at.
Yeah. So you had 0, but you reached all the way to the top. Or wait, you guys got 9?
Yeah.
I roll that back.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we are
Yeah.
2 wanted
you-
level, full pips.
Yes. There's an investigation into this. They haven't quite pinned it on you guys just yet, though they're looking for lewds.
There's like a big cork board, and like Soul Seekers are in the middle with lewds, and like Charlie from Always Sunny is there just pointing at things.
Exactly. But that's it for heat. I'm going to quickly make an entanglement roll behind the screen, and then we're going to check in with everyone. Entanglement generator. Okay. Not bad, not bad. You guys could have done worse.
Oh, the anticipation, Aaron.
That's all right.
I rolled question mark.
Yep, I roll a question mark. We're not going to get into what the entanglement looks like just yet. Instead, we're going to go over to Lutz and Myri in the museum. As you're kind of looking over your loot, you can't help but to see the lifeless, headless form of your friend, co-worker, Albatross, lying lifeless on the floor.
My intrusive thoughts immediately wanted to say it starts to violently convulse, but like convulse, but like not please no.
No, it's almost more frightening how still he is. Lechusa. We'll go over what you saw while you were dispersed, what happened to you while you were dispersed. But you have come together. One thing you felt, and what maybe brought you to come back together, was the death of your brother. It was like you just immediately knew. And so you stumble out of the closet that Jolbit had stuffed you in.
You could hear a collective scream of many different, so like multiple voices coming out of one mouth, like. Ah. Then you just bark. Eddie comes out of the closet. Where is he?
You have a feeling that he's down by the waters, which I believe you've probably been to at some point before, unless you feel like you've avoided it for any reason.
The waters? No, he jumped right in, so he knew exactly where to go.
Yeah. So you make your way down there. As Ludes and Myri are kind of looking over the corpse, Lechusa walks in.
Yeah.
Drobit could be there if you want to as well, Ethan.
That's fair. It's
Wait,
Drobit was going to enter, I think, at some later point and handle the body once final words have been said.
So okay. where we're currently at, it's going to be the museum, and all the artifacts are still technically there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like this is the transported museum down into the sewers.
Staring at the environment that he's in. And I wanted to ask you this as well, Aaron. Would Lechusa have heard what his brother had said in the museum?
No. So I did think about it, and I think it's more narratively interesting if Lechusa is not made aware of exactly what happened. If he wants to discover that mystery, he may have to speak with Albatross at some point in the future, or do some investigating.
Lechusa is going to quietly approach. He's gonna double take a few times, seeing all of these Tycherosi artifacts surrounding him. Shake his head and then stare at the reason why he came there in the first place. He's going to... Can I roll a tune for Lechusa to see if there's any traces of his soul?
Yeah.
Or like any kind of like...
Yeah, we'll do it as a gather information roll. So what's the question that you want to ask me?
Where is Albatross if his spirit isn't here?
Okay.
Because the spirit wardens would have come otherwise if he had gotten killed through any other means. This isn't a normal... Like Lechusa could feel this isn't a normal death.
Yeah, go ahead and give me that attune roll.
And that would be risky for standard?
Control for standard.
And I'll just roll it.
Partial success. One thing you can see just even by looking at the body, and then even more so looking at it on the ghost field, Albatross, you could feel this change coming on within him, but he was not human when he died. And therefore he does not have a soul or a spirit.
The clock ticked over.
And there would be insight. What would I roll to tell? It doesn't even have anything like that. Okay. Oh, it would be more sway than anything. Oh no. To try to kind of would it be insight to try to kind of look at other characters and see what they're thinking? Because Lechusa is going to basically do this. He's going to gauge how my
ask the just state what you're looking to do. We'll only I'll let you know if you need to roll, because it might just be something that they might offer to you in terms of flavor, like specifically.
Lechusa is going to kind of gauge how Myri and Ludes are behaving in front of Albatross, given that they already knew where the body was anyway.
We'll check in with Myri.
Yeah, Myri's she doesn't look happy. She's looking at it very troubled, just kind of shaking her head, just no. This wasn't supposed to.
I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that Ludes is almost catatonic and freaking out.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
That sounds fair.
Myri,
Kind of ranting. Oh, sorry.
What happened to my brother?
I'm going to be quite honest. I don't fucking know either. This wasn't. I didn't. How should I supposed to know that Jacob was gonna be fucking crazy and attack him? And then they went on the ghost field or something? I don't know. I didn't see the fight and then suddenly his head exploded. I didn't know Jacob could do that. I don't even know Jacob didn't even do that. That was a figure. Damn it!
And he starts to jot a lot of what you said down. So you said, there's a figure. What else? Jacob.
Yes,
What?
Jacob Bridgewater. I don't know if you've met him. You're still new here. Then you disappeared for God knows how long. I don't keep track of this shit. Ugh. Jacob's been gone for like ever as well, and then he just shows up. He happens to be involved in what we're doing, and then he decides like, "Oh, I'm going to kill Albatross because I can." It's like, what the fuck are you even doing here in the first place? And just goes and ruins everything, and then goes kills Albatross. Oh my god.
Just for canon's sake, did Albatross kill that demon before or after he killed the innocent man?
That was
Because
before.
I think it was
Right?
before. Yeah. Because-
Albatross would know who Jacob Bridgewater is then. Or no, Lechusa would know who Jacob Bridgewater is.
Yeah, you like through your memories, you would have some clue as to who he is. You don't know much about him other than that he's kind of a weird man that clearly does not like Albatross very much.
I mean, Jobber could chime in. He is an off-kilter Leviathan blood hunter who has recently adorned a yellow cowl.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame him for trying to kill my brother either. They'd kill a demon in front of him.
It is quite the transformation.
Yes, you do see that over half of the body is hard and made out of quartz.
Asking both Myri and Ludes, Lechusa would ask, by any chance, would there be a viable lab that I can use? I need Albatross's body there. I need to do some experiments and figure out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
Well, if he's your brother, then I guess you have rights to that. We have a whole fucking school. There's some lab somewhere I'm sure you could use.
Yeah.
I would like to.
Mechanically, you guys have a workshop, so you can just... It applies to anyone who uses it, so you can just say that you have acquired what you need and put it into one of the classrooms. Is there anything that we want to cover just kind of in this moment, any conversation that we want to have between the characters before we start fast forwarding through scenes?
Aaron's pointing out the missing heart.
I'm not talking about it. My reason is not gonna blatantly ignore that.
I guess the Lechusa wasn't in it, and Adam's out, so this kind of lands on Drillbit a little bit. Then,
No, Lechusa's interested too, because once he gets the lab set up, he was planning with Albatross to go and do that alone.
That's fair.
So like the heart, like not being in the very museum that he would also be aware of too, would raise suspicions. Like he still has no fucking clue. So I mean,
so Drillbit will step in, and it's like, it's awfully quiet here, and it's not just that I do not have a heartbeat, but there is no heartbeat at all in this room. What has happened to the plan? Do we not have all the artifacts?
you have the arm, you have the eye. We're supposed to go for the heart. And it
Why
seems
we
like
did not be here?
I wish I could ask my brother the same thing.
Mari will go over to like the glyphs and just like looking around at where the heart should be, and acting like she's like, "What is this? Like, what is that?"
I love it. It's like, well, if you have no ideas, then I guess we'll just have to go searching for it.
So that was a ritual that was cast to make this happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like rituals, anchor glyphs, and a crazy ton of energy.
Yeah. Like basically the whole first half of the score was setting them up for the ritual, as opposed to doing like downtime actions and stuff. They had to do an entire score to get the ritual and then perform it.
Okay. So Lechusa is going to start to examine the glyphs, kind of just seeing.
Yeah.
Like
for free without making any rolls. This is not the kind of magic that you have performed before. But you can recognize like some of the warding glyphs and things like that are now like broken. You would recognize that the glyphs, not the ones that they had made, but the ones that the Ministry of Preservation had put on, all required like a human sacrifice, like each one, and there are about like 200 of them. You would also recognize that the process of which this happened, if you took enough time with it, maybe you jot them down. This is like a little bit later, you're just kind of comparing notes or reading books in your library. Daniel Diverso finds a book about warding and transportation glyphs. You do see that what they basically did is they folded space and time for half a minute between two locations.
And then just slid it across.
Yeah. As a Taikarosi, this is the hidden lore that I hinted at in session 0. I told both Adam and Dio this. This is what's happening with what's known as the Walking Abyss. Which, just to refresh your memory and to let the players and the audience at home know, the Walking Abyss, the people of Taikarosi are aware of the fact that the world itself is slowly folding in on itself, and that there is a time limit on how much longer the world can continue to exist. The Taikarosi people are also forbidden from talking about this through magics that will kill them if they even try to talk about it.
And so you see it in dances, but it's very generic and hard to interpret.
Well, I can't talk to anybody. I can't talk to anyone. I mean, like the fact that this thing is like a pocket version of I guess the end, just being used willy nilly. Like, what the fuck?
It's like experimenting on black holes. It happens all the time.
Yeah,
but also he likes to cut a vase jib on this one just because it's like, well, can't argue with this. It brought results, and holy shit! But it still doesn't answer the question of the heart.
Yeah, I guess
that
if accusations are going to get made, now's the time to make them. Otherwise, we'll move over to downtime. Or, well, go ahead, Dio. Sorry.
Lechusa is going to make a visit to Vey. Or plan a visit to go see Vey.
Okay. I want to pause for a moment. We're going to go into a combination of downtime and free play. So we're going to come back to you, Dio. Okay. I want to check in with CJ.
Yeah.
So either downtime action or free play. What is Myri doing in the time after this meeting? Lechusa at this point has taken Albatross away. You've contacted Hutchins to have him kind of come through and start appraising things. He paid.
In that time when Hutchins comes, she does kind of like take him over the side and then like slip him a note. And it's like, I need you to deliver this, but you never did. Understand?
He takes a look at the address. Is it for the Circle of Flame?
Yeah.
He puts it into his coat pocket and wink and a nod, touches his nose. I don't know what that means, but people do it.
And then I guess it's still free play. I don't think it would count as a downtime action. She eventually goes back to the school. She first goes into the room where like the statue of the weeping lady was. Looks around like, it's not out there. She looks out the window, sees it in the yard with a root starting to try to wrap around it. And she's like, nope. Then she'll go find the weeping ladies who are working with them now and be like, all right, ladies, we've got some yard work to do.
And we see CJ, also known as Catherine Zeta-Jones, pull out a giant, oversized pair of like shears, and we just cut to a vignette of you guys cutting away these roots, and it's quite a bit of work. This root is like almost actively fighting you as much as a plant that isn't actually alive can. It's almost like it's flexing.
It's flexing its mad tree skills on us.
Yeah. Is there any downtime actions that you want to take?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we'll do your first downtime action there.
Actually, I think I get this for free. I have an ability once I find my tab again. Stop everything closing on me. Analyst. During downtime, I get 2 ticks to distribute among any long-term project clocks that involve investigation or learning a new formula or plan design. I am doing I'm currently in part of an investigation. So I would like to just slap 2 ticks on that clock that I can't find.
Yeah. I think. Give me 1 second. I think I have it in the character sheet there. We got Ghost Railgun. We got Introduction to Demonology.
I had like at least 2 pips.
It did have at least 2 pips, and I think it was a 6-segment clock. Okay, it appears I do not have it, but I will create it, and I will just do that. It's a 6-segment clock. Just called research. So that is going to bring it up to 4 out of 6.
Oh yeah. And then we're gonna use. This will be the first downtime action to actually study. So, I don't know if you get, because we could use the cohorts. So I don't know if I can use the weeping ladies to help me out.
Yeah.
Or Danny. I could use Danny or the weeping ladies.
Yeah.
Whichever one.
Yeah, so you can give yourself an additional +1 die to this roll. Or you can put them on it. Actually worthwhile asking, are we going to be increasing in tier? Because we can do that now. We can describe what that looks like a little bit later, but
So before we jump into that, we were talking before about prison claims, and so I went and I grabbed another claim of Allied Claim, which is the one that allows me to grant you a boon from like for your crew from a different crew type. And so I wanted to grab the one from Shadows, which is Patron, which is when you advance in tier, it costs half the coin it normally would.
okay.
Faye's got to start thinking about retirement.
Okay. So if we spend 8 of that 24 coin, that would be half. It's 16 coin to move up from tier 1 to tier 2.
I mean, we have 8 coin in general already on our sheet,
Yeah.
so we still have 24 coin.
Yeah.
Spend it.
Well, so I'll just leave that there, and then we'll subtract 24 from 8, which is 16. So you have 16 unaccounted for coin.
By the end of this session. Got it.
And I'm going to make a
Each of us
note
could
of
get
that.
2 coins. Like each of our characters could get 2 coins. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Remember, Albatross is dead. He doesn't get to collect any coin.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
I didn't count them.
Lechusa is going to
Little
make
bit.
valid arguments
Lechusa.
saying that given the fact that all these artifacts that you're selling are Taikarosi by
you
nature,
I'm thinking I think each character gets 2 coin.
I think 50,
1.
50, 25, 25 seems like a valid split.
How about
You didn't even do any work.
Wait, let's say that Lechusa inherits Albatross's 2 coin. You go into Albatross's room at some point and you see that he has like a hidden stash of coin under his mattress.
That sounds like Albatross.
Yeah, what he could salvage from his old apartment. Because Albatross did have 2 coin on his sheet, and that doesn't just disappear.
No, I mean, there's 7 characters that can get coin. Jacob and Albatross cannot get coin, so everyone else can get 2 coin.
Yeah, which
You
is
just wanna say-
14, and then there's another 2 floating around.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, so everyone just take 2 coin. And you, Lechusa, if you don't have any coin currently, you can take 2 more. It can also just sit in Nebulous until after downtime. Like,
Mhm. If you want to use it or stash it if you don't end up using it.
Yeah. exactly. So it's not that important to distribute until after this session, so it doesn't just go missing. But you guys do move up to tier 2.
Hell yeah.
Well, that right there is going to net you all 4 stash.
All right.
Since we're talking about money anyways.
3, 4.
So that's both
Okay.
Vey and Drillbit. Lechusa will also gain 4 stash. I'm going to add it to Lud's and Marv's sheet as well. Lud's is going to
Jacob
retire big.
Look at Ludes.
Jacob does not have access to this. I think at this point in time, he has fallen out of favor.
Excommunicado.
He killed my
Coin.
home.
Yeah. Coin split's better when there's less people.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Ludes retiring with like a ton of money, but wow, he's already at 30.
Yeah,
We're gonna be
he's got 30 stash saved up.
He is straight up middle class right now, guys.
But I mean, at the same time, I'm sure he's living almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's like it's better quality drugs that he's getting, but aside from that,
Well, that's the thing is, I think he spends so much time getting high and worrying about spending like a couple bucks extra that like he just accidentally is like making himself rich.
And he is living inside of the school itself, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't have to really worry about spending money anyway.
Yeah, like he's eating your food.
He's eating the staffs, like the teachers are in the like teachers lounge, and it's like, Ted, who the fuck stole our lunches again?
see, he's been going through all the oats, and that's what what's his
Yeah.
name? So that's how he's been grabbing them.
He's an oat fiend. That is true.
Yeah.
Sawtooth.
But yeah, go ahead and give me that roll on that research there.
Yeah.
Myri.
Get back in there. +1. Oh, I saw that was almost a 6. That was rude.
When the die leads
rude.
on like the corner, and it's too bad.
So unfortunately, that's only 1. Though you could spend a coin to push it up 1, or you could do a second downtime action to fill it out.
I mean, at this point, I know I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch of stuff, so I mean, I might as well just throw in the coin.
Okay. Yeah. So throw on one of your coins, and that will fill it all the way out. Tell me a bit about what you were researching.
She was researching a yellow cloak. Anything to do with this deity that she saw in the vision of the Weeping Lady,
Okay.
whom she was warned about. She wants to like get any information she can on this guy.
Yeah. And you had the help from, I don't know if you gave yourself the extra die from...
I did.
Okay, cool. So it's actually Daniel who comes to you when you kind of return back and once things seem a little less tense. He approaches you and he hands you a book. He says, I was taking some time and I did find this while you were gone. It just didn't seem like a good time to hand it to you until now. And you take the book. The book is called Ancient Lore, Volume 4.
Not a creative name.
But you do start looking through it. You learn a little bit about a character named Soul. S-O-L.
Yeah.
Soul is sometimes referred to as the beast with two heads. He is also sometimes referred to as the Serpent of Light and the Man in the Shadows. Soul exists, and he is a deity of ancient times. That in this book they describe him as mythological, and they are not positing that he is real. So this is like kind of like a compilation of like the mythology surrounding him. But you do see like the myth kind of goes that Soul is like this is a serpent that can take as well as give, much like the sun. And so when the sun refuses to shine, crops can wither, things like that. But it is also life-giving, and generally considered to be a positive spirit or a positive influence upon the people that worship it. Though the myths also talk about how where there's light, there is shadow. And there is an entity that exists in the shadow of the tree. And so like Soul is described kind of as you've seen him, as like a giant willow tree. One of the branches is like an impossibly large snake with a sun in its mouth. And there is like a large like deity in a yellow simple robe that walks in the shadows underneath its light. And they are inseparable. And so even though their wills and the way they manifest and the way they act are different from each other, one cannot exist without the other. You also know that Soul has like inscrutable and like almost impossible to determine methods, or like rather like motives. Whereas the Man in the Shadows, the Black Goat, they sometimes refer to him as, his methods, like he is attempting to commit suicide by snubbing out the sun, basically. So his goal is to end all life on Earth, which will then also cause him to cease existing. An interesting implication of this is that technically the sun may not actually be missing, if you buy into the mythology.
So that just makes more questions than what you answered.
Well, I can't give away all away. Like, I'll tell you right now, the sun does exist. It's just under the ocean.
Under the sea.
How do we fix that? In
I don't know if it's up to you to fix that. That's like a world.
Guys, it's scuba time.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, is there and like you got a personal success, so that's what I have to offer you. Though, is there anything you feel like you need clarification on, or anything that you, or if I was like way off based on what you were actually looking for? Like, you can give me one more question.
Soul, we don't know his motives, but the man in the shadows is commit die on everyone.
Yeah. Also a bit of a trickster god.
Yeah. Soul isn't specifically the sun. Soul is just a deity that.
He's not the sun. He's like the concept of the sun. So much like Apollo is the god of the sun, but he himself is not actually the sun.
Okay.
Was that the question? Could you ask how they're connected? I don't know. I'm just trying to think right now of like burning questions.
Yeah. I'll give you this. I'll give you this. In the image that someone has drawn up based on descriptions of like this ancient scripture, there is an image of a tree growing on the surface of an ocean down into the waters. And it says that this is what Soul seeks so that he may walk the earth.
That's pretty cool. Pretty metal.
Yeah. And just taking a step back, this is the kind of problem that is definitely above your pay grade. You guys cannot fix the sun.
But I want to fix the sun.
Just try and stop me.
We're down to our last couple sessions. That itself is like a campaign.
Yeah.
One thing to consider is that it's said, no, it's not. I'm giving you too much information, but artificial suns exist. I'm just going to put that idea in your head.
I was gonna say, isn't there a whole land that technically runs off of like growing crops specifically for it?
Yep. Yeah, it's always daytime in Arufnia. In the entire nation. The sun never sets because it sits on top of a building. There's also in Barrowcleft the Radiant Energy Farms, where they have several smaller versions of these suns that they use to grow crops, and then they sell to the White Crown.
Do those also act as similarly to the spark towers, or are there artificial suns and spark towers together?
No, so they do not generate electricity, or like no one has figured out how to harness like energy from them. It's like a magical process combined with, like, it's magic and technology combined to just basically, it's like nuclear fission.
Mm-hmm.
Just like constantly going off inside of this device.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I was reading up before this session about like the history of Duskfall. That was kind of, and it talked a little bit about like before the Sparkrite Towers got made, that there were like, you know, mages that were going through and doing some amount of like
yes, the Lamp
rituals.
Blacks. The Lamp Blacks is a faction in the city that you guys will not come across. But they used to be the Lamplighter Guild. And that's what they did, is they would perform that ritual and basically reset the lamps, and so that they were always producing light, kind of like mini suns. And then they became obsolete when people started using technology to just have electrical lamps. So they turned to crime.
As you do. I mean, that's why we're here.
Yeah. I'll give you some time to think about that. CJ, Mary, whichever one.
Yes.
We'll check back in with Lechusa. Lechusa, you said you wanted to go visit Vay.
He did indeed want to go visit Vay.
So, let's cut.
Can someone tag along?
Whom might you be suggesting to tag along? Because Lechusa might want to be doing this on his own.
Shova.
Shova.
Let's come say. Well, Shova slash
Okay.
Carissa. Wanna come say hi.
More of a crush kind of
so,
thing.
So how,
Like, oh, are you heading that way? I mean, if it's not too much trouble. I mean, I was gonna go there eventually, but you know, I mean,
so they would run into each other?
I don't want to bother you. If you have something that you talk to that's private, that's okay. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, Lechusa, like, you can walk to the prison with her, and then, like, it might just be one of those things where Vay has back-to-back meetings. If he really needed to be a one-on-one
Double booked.
conversation.
It's more like who are you? Like he actually doesn't know who Shiova is, because I don't think at any point would he.
No, they talked to Shova.
Wait. Oh,
That was
What am I saying?
it
Yeah,
was with
when-
Shiova when they got
Shiova,
Exploded.
Well, no.
but like not that like physical body though. Like I like.
No,
Yeah, no,
Shiova's always in Carissa's body unless otherwise specified.
But the Shiova showed up by herself. She wasn't in Carissa's body when
Yes, she was.
she was in
she?
Carissa's
Okay.
body. I edited that episode, yeah. She was there.
I take it back then. I take it back.
Yeah, because you even commented on it at the time, but I totally get that was like 4 weeks ago. So, like, it's okay, like...
A lot has happened.
Went to Radio Shack.
Yeah. No, Well, then, yeah, he has no argument, I guess. Like, I mean, like, he'd be curious why Shiova is going with, but I mean, if it's Carissa that's, like, being more insistent on going, he won't care.
So the two of you get to the prison. You walk past the decomposing bodies of the bill hooks who have been hung along the path. There seems to be a lot of carrion flocking towards these posts. It's slowly becoming a little bit of a darker thing. And Carissa, because you're like a little bit more attuned to, I guess you both are pretty attuned to spirits. It feels different here than it has before. Just like a little darker.
a little spookier. Like it's like Halloween season as you're walking in.
There's less spiritual activity occurring here than there was before.
Mm.
They know something. Time to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah. Lechusa being made of spirits and Carissa being possessed by spirits, or perhaps even Shiova herself would know that this is a bad sign. If spirits choose not to be somewhere, that usually means that something more sinister has taken hold of an area.
Interesting.
Well, I'm glad to have visitors. What brings you two around? And kind of cuts open, and Vay is wearing a bit more ritually than like he's kind of has started to transition from what was more formal attire to. It's not quite a robe, but it's getting there, right? We're kind of in like the half seas in between spot where like there's still a dress shirt, but there's kind of a robe.
Can I just take a moment? I think it'd be kind of funny if people are giving you the shirts off their backs. Like, just like that's like a thing. Like, you wake up and like people have left like a pile of their shirts.
Just a blanket of shirts on your bed.
All tailored to become one gigantic, like, multi-folded, like, robe.
Yeah. You see some of the prisoners are walking around shirtless. All of them.
My liege.
And Vay's just got like a layer of 5 of them on or something. All the collars, yeah.
I'm doing a challenge where I put on as many shirts as possible.
Yeah. You know, they may be taking some time to repurpose it. It looks really cool. Even though it might not sound like it. It does look really cool.
Thanks for the save.
But Lechusa respond like looking at Bay's new getup and seeing how much he's changed since the last time he's actually seen him in Albatross's body. He will speak to him, so he's gonna speak to him very casually. Bay, I see you've changed your outfit to look more like a man of the cloth. That's an interesting take.
Well, it's dress for the job you want. They always say, I've definitely have been enjoying eating from the fruit that that Soul has continued to provide, and I mean, just look around, and you'll Vale just kind of he's got some coin on him, and just kind of feeling really happy and smug with having had completed the ritual and such, and going through that way.
For starters, though, I don't. I'm speaking to you so casually, but I don't think we formally introduced ourselves. I am Lechusa. I'm sure you've heard of me through the waters. But
I have. It's I'm sorry to have heard about your brother. It's having him leave was quite the departure, but we're definitely thankful to have you aboard.
I don't think he had much of a choice in terms of whether he wanted to leave or not. But he kind of looked for it himself, honestly. But
his time was ticking.
He's why I'm here. I saw that there's a bit of a ritual going on. And since you've mentioned it, what partook that night that my brother died?
Well,
Oh, okay, I'll back up. This is the personal conversation. I'll back up a little.
and he'll give a nod to her, acknowledging her presence, which is maybe exactly what she wanted and what she came to the visitation for. It's like, yes, good, she noticed me.
He looked at me.
Senpai noticed me, yeah.
Carissa, as you go to turn around, you see like an older woman just kind of like crouched and like hunched over, and she beckons you over. And she starts if you go over and approach her,
she like awkwardly looks around, just like, okay. I don't have the social skills to get out of this. Okay.
Yeah. She just starts going on at length about the crimes that she's committed, and she's basically like trauma dumping on you.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That's all.
I remember when I stabbed 3 people.
Yes.
That's great. Yes. Back to the conversation with Vey and Lechusa, though. I mean, the ceremony was I'd say it was boilerplate, but it's probably one of the most complicated rituals that I've ever experienced, let alone heard about. But we had to have some sort of conduit in order to try to, locate the beacon and to figure out a way to, move parts of the ether, and I don't know. I can envision Vey kind of going into some things, but it not making the most amount of sense, and just kind of, I don't know. What kind of curious? I'm like, what are you looking to get here?
He wants to know who was involved. Like, who was involved with the ritual itself.
Oh. Like from Vey's side, or like the ritual as a whole?
As a whole.
Well, I mean, happy to give a quick post-mortem to the operation we just did, but I mean, there was me running the ritual here in the prison. There was the the crew, everyone that was there at the museum, they were setting up the nodes and putting in the right amount of energy. We had to trigger the conduit in order to, get a good target location. And yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the specific names, like, I mean, you came in with like, a fifth of them. It's everyone else at the university. You're looking for something specific.
He's gonna ask about two specific things. The warding and the what would Lechusa know about the god that took his brother?
About Soul?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not very much.
Would he have sensed that happened the way it did? Like, not like it details, but like a giant entity basically looming over his brother's body.
No, but he would have sensed Albatross's mental state in the last moments of his life.
Then he wouldn't be able to ask about the second thing then, because that giant.
Myri did mention that there was a figure. You could ask about it.
Okay. Then he would press on those two things: the warding itself, and who would have been in charge of it, and then the
Well, I'll answer the first question because you would already know this without actually talking to Vey.
That's Myri.
Yeah, Myri did the actual ritual, like she did the ritual to set up the beacon so they could locate the library from where they were. So they did a ritual here and they had to target the library, and then they had already done something to like kind of set the new location to be that area down there. But it would have been Myri, the Weeping Ladies, and Daniel Deraviso. All kind of worked together to make the ritual and like give it to Vey. So Vey is...
And like all of the homework would have been enough visible within like the university. Like this is the type of job that would have taken like some weeks in deciphering and stuff, that like there would be a few walls in the university that would have given kind of enough of a sense of what was going on there in the pathing. And it's like, like, I mean, if you're talking about the fact that like, the whole heist didn't work out as expected, which, believe me, no one's more disappointed than losing the heart than I am. After chatting with Myri, I can really say that like, the level of complexity for those wards and being able to set clear directions across the city, it's a miracle we actually got the entire university, let alone, only losing specifically that artifact, which is, again, devastating.
I mean, yeah. Looking at the ritual that you all cast, I'm impressed. But I'm hoping that maybe we could find a way to backtrack and find out where the heart could have gone. What could have caused it to not go with the library, but with the museum, perhaps. But my greater concern, honestly, is going to be more about the other figure that was there. The one that nobody had accounted for.
And I take it that you're not talking about
Jacob
Bridgewater.
Oh. Jacob trying to kill my brother seems to make more sense than anything. Tends to track with his behavior. It was The one that Myri had mentioned. Us about, what did she say? What was Myri's ramblings? You said that she had ripped that.
Oh, you're muted.
No, he's asking what the name was.
No, CJ was muted.
Oh,
Sorry.
Because
Yeah.
when Myri had mentioned about like how Albatross had died,
Yeah,
she had.
I think she said that the figure tore open his head. I don't think she just. She, if she asked, she would have. Actually, we didn't even really see too much of him. She would just said a giant figure on the shadow, not shadow, on the ghost plane or whatever would have killed him. Tore his head off.
Well, I'll level with you. I can give you as much information as I have, but I was a little preoccupied via the power conduit, and it was also halfway across the city, so may not have the best sense of information of what you're looking for. But from from what I figure is one of the changes that I've seen recently in Jacob Bridgewater is that he too has been praying to, I want to say, a similar god, but there's something different. There's something, I want to say, more sinister about it. And I can't really give into more information because technically my character, I don't think, knows much more than that, though we can explore that. But there's some amount of outside influences that if you're looking for leads, you gotta follow the light.
Hey. Well, this has given me some answers, or some leads to what I could use to try to figure out what happened to Albatross.
Yes, my fellow inmates will say that I give some answers, but cause more questions more often than not.
I hope your endeavors here continue to be fruitful, and maybe once you're all done, get to see you not behind bars.
You say that, but I gotta tell you, the level of success for my philanthropic expeditions have been quite more fruitful from this location than from others.
I've just really turned around for Vay. We went to prison.
Yeah.
Only in Akaros.
Only in Akaros.
Everyone's friendly.
And Lechusa, just
I'm having success in my business.
Why does this jail have
Crops are watered.
Why does this jail have a for sale sign in front of it? What the fuck? It's like, please rent out condos here at the jail.
It's called a timeshare.
Oh god. That makes more sense. It has to be evil and conniving.
Cell share.
No. And then Lechusa would know this. In fact, you would all characters would know this as kind of base knowledge. Since the cataclysm occurred, deities do demonstrably exist, and those that worship them have powers that are hard to understand. And the wills and what gods do in this world are like very difficult to discern. So like it is just one of those things where like it's not even that crazy. Like it's crazy, but it's not like unheard of that a god would step in and kill someone.
I mean, especially I feel like if you're from Tycherosi, where like there's so much kind of ingrained lore about like the two brothers that you went on and talked through. The
two princes, yes.
The princes, yes.
And as Lechusa would be taking his leave, would Carissa still be talking to that old lady?
I think, unfortunately, yes. Not so much talking to her, but sitting there against her will.
Yeah, and she's just like, my third husband. I had to poison him because he slept with my sister.
Oh, that wasn't a very good thing to do.
No, it wasn't, and so he had to atone for his sins with his life. But unfortunately, I got away with that one. It was husband number 7 when I finally got caught.
And at this point,
Uh,
Vey is going to tap the woman on the shoulder and go, I thank you so much. I really appreciate you keeping my other guests company. I'd like to say a quick goodbye before they head out, but really good to see you again. And kinda-
She's very upset, and she bares her teeth at you, which she has filed down to points.
That's why I didn't move.
But she doesn't dare to attack you, knowing that you have a cadre of people that would come in and assist or attack her in retaliation. So she leaves.
As she goes, it's she looks tough, but she's a real darling underneath. You just gotta get past all of the violence.
the husband murders, yeah.
They weren't
Lechusa
great. Go ahead.
Lechusa chimes in saying, I was about to tell her that her sister's still looking to kill her. Spooked the shit out of her, so, I mean, after seeing those teeth, the idea was better.
Yes, it's best to not let her know. Any fuel really is not something that she needs.
Her funeral.
Ignorance is bliss. But yeah, is there anything that Carissa wanted to talk to Vey about while we're here?
I just want to ask mechanically, can Shiova, I guess, get a spiritual sniff of Vey?
Yeah, sure.
Because everything's getting crazy around here.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll do it as a gather information roll. We're going to say it's risky for standard, in that Vey may be able to notice is the risk.
Okay.
You want to assist?
Absolutely. If anything.
Okay. 2 stress to assist.
What was I gonna say?
Or do you want to do it as a group action? Yeah, we could do it as a group action. Maybe you were kind of putting some feelers out while you were talking with Vey as well.
Just kind of being like, ooh, just like, you kind of like, it's like, I'm helping,
hey girl,
I'm
check
helping.
this out.
Yeah.
Just waving his hand over his shoulder, like
You
pretending to
got
be
it,
discreet.
bro.
All right. Yeah, so between these two conversations, go ahead and if you're whoever's going to do it, do an attune roll. So we'll pick our leader of this action here now. Whoever would be willing to take stress if one
I
or
think you
both.
have no stress and I have some stress, so if you wouldn't mind, please.
Yeah, it's like Lechusa would kind of like take a lead and be like wink at
Ghost wink.
yeah, like at Shiova, like it's just like no, to the blind eye, like he's winking at nobody.
By the way, I don't know the answer to this question, so Ethan, you might want to think about what they might find.
I mean, let's roll. Then we'll just we'll just throw things out there.
And what is it going to be?
Attune,
Controlled
I assume.
risky.
Oh,
It's risky for standard.
Risky for standard.
Okay, and any pluses because of the group effort or action?
Because you're basically you're both gonna roll, and if either of you succeed, then it succeeds. Because you have synchronicity as a special ability, if you each roll a success, then it becomes a critical success.
All right, let's see where it goes.
All right.
And I'm gonna push it for 1 extra die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a normal, regular success. I mean, it's a partial success.
Partial success.
Partial
Yeah.
successes.
partial success. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can chat real quick whether or not there is more ill intent, or I guess, so it's what's going on spiritually.
Yeah, I guess like yeah, like ask your question. Um, between the two of you, like what's the question you want answered? You're gonna get the answer, but Veya's gonna know that you were snooping around.
I'm gonna leave that to Shio.
Just wanted to know, like, if there was kind of like any bad, like, ghost realm junk on him. Like, if this is a kind of like something ain't right with that boy. Kind
Okay,
of deal down a ghost realm nature.
that's fair. I will go
Like,
as
is he
far
getting into bad shit?
as to say, one thing, which is that you can tell that Vey has, even since the last time you talked to him, or like Carissa talked to him, he's definitely gotten darker. Like his aura has kind of changed a little bit. I think that's fair to say there, Ethan.
Oh, like 100%. And like you even like you notice it where it's like the aura around his left eye, it's much darker there, and something's kind of off. And if you were to kind of put an analogy to it, I think I would kind of say it's like it's like a high school kid who started to get into trouble. And so like they're still fine, but you know, there's kind of this sense that like, you know, if Vey continues down this path, things aren't going to go great. And so still fine though, and has not committed anything terrible. But I mean, like you know, with like that last heist we did, like there's this viciousness now, right? And like I'm sure you could see that as part of like the aura, is it's just darker, and you know, just what you kind of see there is also maybe a bit of that feeling you had when you kind of came in, where you're like, oh, like there's more.
Yeah,
but that was more like there was emptiness, or just but things are not like kosher.
The vibes have turned from chaotic neutral to chaotic. Chaotic neutral to chaotic evil.
Maybe more from like a chaotic lawful to, or like from lawful more to neutral, starting to lean. Like it's there.
yeah.
Oh.
Like we're not evil. You know, I mean like business evil, not like villain evil. You know,
Business.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to apply the alignment chart to Vey in particular, I think he started at true neutral.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And is slowly kind of moving towards chaotic neutral, potentially chaotic evil. But it's hard because, like, again, like we have to take a step back and realize that this is not Earth. This is a world where even people who are law-abiding citizens have possibly killed someone. Like, so it's not actually
having known kill someone is just a little bad.
Yeah, like it's just like it is a different world and different laws and things like that, and morality is a lot more gray. So like some of the best people like that we would look at in the city, like that are as good people, are regularly kill or like steal. You know, like it's just one of those things where it's a much more morally gray world, and so the alignment chart doesn't really truly translate.
Except for the weeping ladies, who are great and wonderful.
Well, are they?
I was gonna say that the weeping lady ran like what was it? Lechusa was the one that saw like. No, it was Albatross who saw the weeping lady, and like the actual weeping lady just crawling around the school, and was like, "Fine, fuck it, do whatever you want."
There's nothing evil.
No,
about
the weeping ladies were like they used archaic methods that like hurt people, and they also had like a stockhold of like spirits down there or something.
Yeah, they keep spirits. They keep spirits as tools, and like they just kind of hold them. They do heal the sick and stuff like that, but then like you also know that your cohorts, one of the drawbacks that they have is that they're savage.
Yeah, they kill.
Yeah, that's fair. They are just randomly killing people.
It's not random. You guys just never invested.
He looked at her funny.
You're just tying up loose ends without being asked. Yeah.
Yeah.
We you know who we really have to interrogate from the weeping ladies? CJ.
aka Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yo,
Worthwhile to ask her about it. But yeah, I think with the partial success, you do get a sense that he's on a darker path than he was the last time you saw him. And Lechusa, what I'll say that you see is there is legitimate fear in that woman, the woman that was kind of rejoicing. Like, you could read her aura, and she was enjoying the fact that she was scaring this young girl and was purposely telling her stories in order to increase her fear. And she was kind of like not getting off on it sexually, but she was into it. She just enjoyed having that power over Carissa. And then as soon as Vey intervened, it was one of those things where there was a legitimate sense of fear.
Oh, hello, bigger fish in the pond. Never mind. I'll go.
I'm glad he's on our side for now.
Yeah. And we're just about getting ready on break, but Vey.
So real quick then, yeah, like if it was a partial success, then they noticed that you're going in and you're snooping. So I'm going to say that maybe this happened and like on your way out, they went and had a quick handshake, and before you even realize you're kind of shaking hands on the way out, and when that happens, they kind of feels the attunement and like the fingers kind of prodding out, which may have been there I think throughout the session, but then just kind of finally touching made that connection and is like, oh, and getting somewhat disgruntled, just kind of is like, well, I can appreciate that you're the newest member here in the group, but what is a team without trust?
As you say that, have you ever had a handshake with another person where like when you're doing the handshake, they'll like do like they'll use the other finger to kind of like caress your hand?
I've never had that. That sounds awesome.
So yeah, exactly. So it's like you're handshaking and then you're just like you're
like
caressing with like
the fingers reaching out on the arm.
Yeah,
he will do that specific. He's doing that specifically with the tune. Winks and says well, trust requires it to be a two-way street. And given that there's hidden information from what your statement said, I mean, we're just gauging each other at this point.
Well, welcome to the team, and the next time you want a bit more information, feel free to ask. And Vey is going to release the handshake, but right before squeeze what is a little too hard and just kind of hurting the hand a little bit and letting go and kind of huffing off.
Yeah, Vey's been getting that yard time.
Oh man.
You don't get, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say you don't get to escape yet. Carissa Sashio didn't get to say anything yet.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I mean, maybe
Right,
that's
if you want to go on break. Yeah,
No, we can do that. Yeah, annoyed kind of this, and then goes to huff off and turns around, and maybe Shiova's right there.
Yeah.
Hello.
Like Carissa for a second looked like she's about to like say something, and then like she starts like twitching for a second, like a little confused, like what? And then kind of like head twitching, and then like kind of eyes rolling back, and then her head kind of tilts to the side, and she smiles at him a little unnervingly, just like, "Oh, you're an interesting one, aren't you? Got quite a bit going on, don't you? Seems like you've got this place in quite the chokehold. And you've gotten yourself into some interesting things. I can't help but wonder if that's why all the spirits are leaving. It's a troubling thing, when spirits leave a place." She like slowly is like walking up closer to you, which very unnaturally not Carissa.
Well, my doors are open, not for me to leave, but for others to come in. I like to think I run a tight ship, and yeah, I too have noticed that the spirits have been leaving, but to be honest, it was not the freshest of soil that this land was on. As I recall, about a month and a half ago, there was an incident. I was also technically involved in that one, but I wouldn't put myself to blame.
Of course not. I just want to warn you. I know well.
Shut up, phone. Oh my god. I was being dramatic, excuse you.
I just want to warn you. A spirit is one such as myself. Rage. I know rage so well. It's what fuels me, what keeps me alive, what keeps me going, and I know I can see it in you. That's a dangerous path to walk for the living. I'm not sure you want to end up like me. You should think about that. Where you want to end up after all this. Do you like being your little preacher man on top of the hill? Do you want a life like the normal people who go about the town? Think about that.
And she walks away with Lechusa.
And Lechusa is gonna be like, nice.
I could do like a handshake, like nice. Tight.
We'll just quickly, before break, just the camera kind of flies across the city. We go to the docks, where we see dockers are in the process of deconstructing several of the docks, destroying them in the process so that ships cannot moor.
Aaron's like, all right, wide pan. By the way, the world's going to war. You're having your fun little chats, but like people are preparing for a siege. So you do what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll even go as far as to say that we see some Imperial guardsmen on their stone dock have set up like a barricade so that the dockers cannot come on to where they have the Imperial Navy docked. And with all that being said, we're going to take a short break here. Ladies and gentlemen, drink your RC Cola. Enjoy your animals. I got 2 dogs here. Both of them need to pee. And that's what I'm thinking about.
Go enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy watching my dog take a shit yet again. All right, see y'all in a
Every
sec.
day. It gets better every day. All right, see that.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Just before the break, people were spookifying and invading Vay's personal space through arcane means.
Charging spiritual brain matter.
Yeah,
Reviving on the way out.
Lechusa gave him like a really weird handshake. It was kind of like, just thinking about it makes me shudder.
It was a little sweaty too.
I
It just wasn't good.
Honestly, nothing is
Like
worse
a,
than
oh,
getting
no,
up.
would it be cold because he's a dead body?
In the spirit world, it was sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was spirit sweat.
Yeah.
Oh man, the BO in the spirit world.
But yeah, we'll just go right to Vay. Vay, downtime actions. Well, Vay or Ethan. Actually, I'll say Ethan because Drillbit may want to do something. Do you have a downtime action you want to partake in?
I do. And so I have a lot of stress I need to clear. I have I keep looking at my character sheet and there's way more red than I am happy with. And so yeah, Vay's gonna pray. And I guess hold a sermon. Yeah, I guess I don't attend church anymore. I guess now it's running church is
Oh, I
what
am
he does.
church.
No worries. So yeah, go ahead and give me that indulge vice roll. That's going to be your lowest of the 3 resistance rolls.
Yes, and also as a quick heads up, at the beginning of this session, I had filled out the pips for one of my special abilities, and so I took functioning vice, which is that when you indulge your vice, you may adjust the dice outcome by 1 or 2, up or
Oh.
down, and an ally who joins may also do the same. But I'm taking it from the last interaction that neither of you stayed around for the sermon.
To be fair, they're not really allowed to
I
enter.
was gonna say I don't think we're allowed. Yeah.
You know, they can get a
can
guest
they come
pass.
directly guest pass into the prison.
You could smuggle them in. You have the smuggling bonus.
Yeah, drop a coin, just put a person on.
Yeah. But
Pop out of a box.
but
I
yeah.
always wanted to go to jail.
So you successfully managed to reduce 4 stress,
4, and I will up.
Oh,
it
you
by
could move it
2.
up. or down 1 or 2.
I'll move it up 2. So now I only have 3 stress, which is much more manageable.
Okay.
Not better, yeah.
So you managed to clear 6 stress. The sermon goes off without a hitch. What are you talking about this market day?
That's right. It is market day. Well, I mean, market day is all about interactions, right? And there's a thing about, how you will, when you go to the market, you talk to vendors and you find the produce that they've grown and sowed from their fields, and you use it to nourish you. And you trust that, what you're buying from the market is exactly, what the value that you're getting. And it really kind of builds a community. And this whole time in this sermon, Vey is just kind of talking about trust, and maybe at one point kind of talks a bit about personal space. You can really tell that he was kind of frazzled with the previous invasion and interaction. And I don't think anyone in the church itself notices, and they're just kind of nodding along like, oh yeah, of course. And maybe at like one time even he's like, and Lechusa comes in, and like, no one really catches it as he's kind of going through the flow. And so maybe that's how it's successful. And hindsight is like, oh, that was a little personal.
somewhere out in the distance.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like in your little journal that you've thought about Lechusa enough that his name might appear in the book?
Ooh, that is I think so. Yeah, that's fair. I'm sure at points like, there are different names and such coming through, but if you want to like go in and say it's like, after this interaction going through, it's like, a few pages ahead, Lechusa's name is in there with like other scribblings, which can't quite tell what's going on yet.
Yeah. Lechusa, you can't feel this, but it's just one of those like, like when you feel like someone's watching and you look and no one's there, you just have one of those moments.
Lechusa licks his lips.
But yeah, you managed to clear a lot of stress, and no mechanical benefit to this there, but it's after the ritual and what kind of happened there. People are happy to see, people outside of your church are happy to see that you guys are able to do things without causing like a lot of strife and conflict and fear. You do see that some more people are willing to attend the next time you host a sermon.
It's people. It's like when you get a cat in a carrier, right? Like the first time you lock it, they're like freaked out and they won't go back in, and then you just have to keep throwing food in. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like people are like, actually, it was kind of nice, and you get coffee.
It's not. They don't always fire at 11. Sometimes they're at a nice, like, chill 4.
Yeah.
little sandwiches and coffee afterwards. It's great.
No Church of the Ecstasy of the Flesh. I went there with my mom once. I hated it.
Wait, hold on. Alright.
But yeah, we'll leave you there. I know that's a little underwhelming, but I feel like you've earned not being absolutely fucking terrified of rolling your dice rolls. And we'll just check in with Dio. Dio, Lechusa is going to take any downtime actions here.
I wanted to have Lechusa because the going to visit Bay didn't count as a downtime action, right?
No, that was just free play. So
Okay. So for his first downtime action, he's actually going to train and skirmish. I want him to basically start kind of just like shadow boxing.
no worries. So we'll describe what that looks like, but just so you know, Lechusa, you train prowess. So that bar above that says there, you can put one tick into that.
Right.
We see Lechusa. Are you hanging out with the dockers? Is that what you're up to? Like, are you just kind of like maybe like following them?
Shadow boxing, like actual like shadow ghosts.
What he would actually
they
be
call it that.
what he would actually be doing is he would be sitting in front of Albatross's body and kind of just reminiscing with the times that he spent with his brother. And at some point, as he's pacing around, he would grab just one of the random broomsticks inside of the lab and start to almost like as if he's reliving a moment, recreate and fight his brother in a previous fight that he had with him. Striking low when he should have striking low when he should have versus in the fight where he was facing him, he struck high, adjusting himself and hitting in places where he would have been at an advantage, just adjusting and getting his practice in.
Okay. Yeah, there's this moment. Interesting thing about Albatross is that he is not decomposing. So even though it's been a few days, his body does not smell. Just so you know. But actually, Lechusa, I said I would explain what happened during your break, and I think this is as good a time as any. While your spirits did not witness what happened at the museum, they did witness some things around the city. And this is perhaps playing in the back of your mind, trying to decipher what this means. But you did see out in Barrow Cleft, there was like a storm of people trying to ascertain goods. And the vendors themselves actually had to like start firing into the crowd in order to calm them down and stop a riot from occurring as people were trying to hoard goods. In Six Towers, besides witnessing Lechusa, you do actually know where the heart is. We did just say that at the end of the last episode. Lechusa, one of your spirits, reports that there's a group of men that you would know to be the Circle of Flames, because Albatross knew them to be the Circle of Flames. They have the heart. Though you don't know if that's because you don't know that Myri did that. You think that they may have interfered with this. It would be more reasonable if you believe Myri that they maybe interfered with the ritual somehow.
Yeah, he doesn't suspect Myri at all.
Yeah,
to be frank, like it's one of those like, how the fuck did it happen?
Yeah. You also see in Six Towers, though, you see that Lord Skurlock is taking some time, and he is like hosting, like he's kind of standing on a soapbox in the center square. You see him talking to people and encouraging those who do not wish to stand and fight to take residence in his basement in the upcoming battles.
That's not a terrible idea for anybody who he suggests that to.
Oh man, we can just hide out in the basement? I didn't know that was an option.
In Coleridge, you see Ulf Ironborn, who we haven't actually seen in person before, but you're the first one to see him. Ulf Ironborn is a rail thin man. Is wearing probably a half a dozen watches on his he's got like a dress shirt that he's rolled up kind of like up to the cuffs, so it looks like a t-shirt. And he is wearing several watches or 3 watches on both of his on each of his arms. One's gold and bronze and silver, like they're all different, just kind of ones that he's collected. You see in the Skovlander refugee camp out in Coleridge as he walks, and he is checking in on the Skovlander refugees who are upturning beds and pulling out rifles. They are like kind of gathering munitions in like a center tent. You see that this is all happening under the watchful eye of the Bluecoats, who are stationed to guard the outside, who are nervously looking in and witnessing this. You also see out in White Crown that the Imperial Guardsmen are doing something very similar. Though they are polishing rifles, and they're pulling out cannons and aligning them towards the sea.
Is Ulf Ironborn part of the Imperium, or
no? He is
okay.
He is head of the oh my gosh, what are they called? He's a Skovlani refugee.
Got it.
He does have a faction that you guys have come up against in the past. And I forget their name. So give me one moment, because I'm going to look it up, because it might matter to you.
Path of Echoes? No.
Oh, no. He is his own faction. Ulf Ironborn.
Oh, okay, he's like
What's that?
Skurlock.
Well, unlike
Just a
Skurlock,
dude.
he does actually have a crew.
Mm-hmm.
Which consists a lot of the Skovlander refugee camp. Everywhere across the city, as your spirits have like kind of taken their time and spread out, they're all returning with signs of people preparing for battle. Whispers that the Imperial army is going to arrive and take over the city. And it seems that everybody knows, except for you.
Wait, except for us?
Yes,
Or-
except for Vu. Like, plural you.
Like, specifically Lechusa, or like all of the Soul
Look-
Seekers?
Like,
We've been all up in our own all our own shit. Like, hey guys, let's go steal a heart. And it's like, hey, what the fuck is everyone else doing?
Yes, like you're finding in the aftermath. Like, you would have known this before you even talked to Vay and stuff like that. I just forgot to actually take a moment and describe that.
Okay, so you know the rest of us don't.
Yeah, and maybe you do talk to them about it, but it seems that the city is preparing to go to war, and like literally half the city is going to be against half of the other city, and there seems to be foreign invaders arriving.
Can The waters share memories.
Maybe
We've done feelings before. It's pretty close.
Yeah, we've done like feelings. I don't think you could like just. I think you could. I'm gonna say no. Like you wouldn't be able to like directly share what those spirits have seen.
So
I feel
there's
like
a data limit on the group chat.
Damn it!
But you could call him.
This PowerPoint file doesn't really want to upload. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to. Do you have an email I can send it to you? Discord's not working.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Let's see.
Yeah, I guess my question to you is: we don't have to describe how it happens just yet. That might be worth saving till the end of the episode. And with that way, we can have Adam in on this conversation when we talk about what we're gonna do about the war. But do you tell the others? Yes, no proposition.
I mean, yeah.
Why you gotta wait so long, Dio? Come on.
Yeah. So we will go to that moment when it happens, and that moment may very well happen before we get into the rest of the downtime. But yes, it is clear to all of you that the city is going to war. If you start talking to your contacts, Vey, if you reach out to Salia, or send like a letter or have her write a letter to you, she confirms it, that the Imperial military is moving and that apparently the Emperor himself plans to make an appearance.
For little old us. Gosh.
You would also know that the Railjacks have left the city. So like there are no trains going in or out of Duskfall at this moment.
Damn, we can't steal another train. They took them all.
I mean, we could always go to the rail yards and try to take it from there, but
Yep.
Like, this is a great time to steal trains. Oh, they took them. Damn.
impromptu lands. Let's go.
But yeah, and Myri, Stasia wouldn't know much, but Hutchins is very fortunate. Like he's very happy to have the opportunity to leave while he goes and tries to find buyers for your wares. Because yeah, he also confirms, he's like, it's not good. I don't know if Duskfall's going to be the same city when I get back, but hopefully you all find a way to survive. I'm taking the last train out.
Well, I've made it this far. Honestly, some men with a gun is a lot less stressful than what I've been seeing lately, so at least I can understand that. Don't stand with the pointing.
But yes, do survive, and I'll come back with perhaps even more coin for you.
Yeah, good luck out there. I hope you don't run into any blockades or anything.
It should be fine. I'm actually heading. I'm going to start in Aruvnia. Make my travel around the realms. Skovland, I have a buyer out there as well, actually. Now that we're not at war with them, there's some money. And yeah, and he does. Gives you a hug before he leaves. It lingers a little too long.
And then I dip him into dramatics now.
But yes. Yeah, and with that kind of known, we'll just go to Dio. Did you want to take a second downtime action just because that one was pretty short, the training?
I don't think I really want to indulge into any advice. Well, I mean, I have to indulge in advice, don't I?
If you don't, you will gain 2 stress. That actually goes for all of you, including Myri.
Yeah.
Not our spirit companions, though.
So his advice is
just talking meta here. You might just want to take the 2 stress, because if you only have 2, the chances of overindulging are
well, he pushed
pretty
himself
darn...
though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, does he have 4?
Oh yeah, I have 4. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry.
Did you take the
Fair
other
enough.
2 stress from?
Because I pushed myself out again. Or no, no, because I was the leader of the group
But
action.
You don't take stress. You only
No one takes stress if people fail. So you actually,
So
you only took
have
stress
2.
from pushing it.
I was at 2 pips then. Okay, I added the 2 because I thought that was the case, but never mind.
No.
No worries.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Is it 2 if you're rolling 2 die, you got to get
And you will
Okay,
take the better of the 2 dice, not the better for you, the higher of the 2, because you love indulging in your vice.
Oh.
Yeah, so it'd be dangerous for you.
That's a bad gamble.
I'd rather take the 2 then.
Yeah. No worries.
And then you get another downtime.
If you need a bit of time to think about it, let me know. Like I can check in with CJ.
Yeah, let me take my time on it.
Yeah, no worries. So CJ,
Yeah.
you got a couple characters kind of floating around.
I do
Well,
got a couple
literally.
characters floating.
See, the thing is with Shiova, she knows a war is gonna happen. I think she's just gleefully sitting in a corner waiting for a chance to go slurp up some souls. So
Okay. You want to
I
take
don't
it?
I don't think she needs to yet.
And you can do that midway through a
Oh yeah, no, she can do that in the
thing, right?
She can do that in the
In the score.
heist.
Yep.
In a score.
It's so good that you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't think I need to do that with her.
Like, yeah, you can recharge mid game.
But Myri does need to clear out some stress. She's got a lot.
Oh,
And I think she needs some time to process all this new information she got. She'll like go do some drugs and let the brain juice flow.
that's all right. You have a new vice now, and a new vice purveyor. Who happens to be your friend Stasia. And I forget what the name of the drug is. I am so sorry.
Trans powder?
It is trans powder.
Ooh,
You're really into your trans powder. So you go and hit up your friend Stasia. Unless you think you would get it from somewhere else, so maybe you don't want Stasia to know.
Nah, we're chill. I let her shrink my hands. She can know. She can know I'm getting into weird shit.
Yeah. So you kind of just barge into Stasia's little apothecary.
As she does.
It's not a shop. She's not like a storefront. Specifically, she actually is a known drug dealer. But she also makes potions and stuff like that aren't for getting high. But just doesn't make as much money. But you storm in, and she just excitedly looks over at you with a wide smile. She's like,
Oh, that's a dangerous look on your face.
"Yes, it is. Here, have this." And she throws a vial at you.
You know I can't refuse anything you throw at me.
Yeah.
Sounds.
And you take it, and there's like a brief moment where like you actually like when you drink it, you actually enter the ghost field for like about a minute.
Drugs are so much cooler in this world.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're just kind of like on the ghost field, and like as you're looking around the shop, like it's like all twisty and turny, and like the shop itself extends for like a mile in every direction you look, as if it's just like kind of like moving. And then it kind of all snaps back to reality, and you step back into the real world. I think that's your first time actually seeing the ghost field.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah, that was a thing. Okay,
Did it work?
if work meant looking into the beyond, yeah, I would say that's it. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I'm really glad that worked. I was worried it might not. Haven't actually tried it before. But thanks, Myri.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, can't refuse. You've got weird shit, and sometimes it's really fucking cool. Sometimes it does weird things to my brain. Speaking of which, give me weird things for my brain.
Oh yeah, you're into that trance powder now. Go ahead and make that vice roll. Let's see how she feels about giving you trance powder.
That's a resolve. No
Gonna be all
modifiers.
seeds and stems.
Ooh, 5.
Okay.
That was one of those, like, it was 1, and then it flipped right over right at the end.
So yes, you do remove 5 stress, which is good. And Stasia's response to that, she's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then she opens up like a drawer, and then there's like a bunch of vials of trance powder there, just like you remember last time. But then she's like, no, and she lifts like the whole like vial holder out, and it actually reveals like a false bottom.
Oh.
And she pulls out like 2 vials of like the extra good stuff.
Oh yeah.
She lays them out like in 2 lines on the table. Hands you like a piece of paper, roll it up, and she says, "Cheers."
Cheers.
And then you all snort some trance powder. And it's fun. You're in this hallucination where you open up cabinets and piles of small children fall out. And even though that should be disturbing and like crazy, you're just like, that's hilarious.
Like, oh my god, how they all fit in there? Listen, I have this great crazy idea now for like an opening act. Imagine it, tiny people falling out of like a cart or something. It's all colorful.
Yeah, and you guys are both like super high, and it's only like 20 minutes of your life, but again, it feels like hours. But you are just excitedly talking about your opening night as you guys discuss like creating a play. And you're trying to make notes, but you can't really see the page, and like it's like morphing and like changing shape, and it's like all of a sudden it's a cube, and so you're trying to write on the bottom of it. And when you sober up, you look at these like notes, and you just see tiny people cupboards written over and over again.
It's like tiny people cupboards, but more people, and then the cupboards open and more people. And you're like, wow, this just keeps going.
Yeah.
Oh look, oh look, I drew little stick figures.
Yes.
It's just some jumble.
Yes, and so you and Stasia sober up and realize that you guys wrote the worst play of all time. But you wrote a play together in about 20 minutes, and that's pretty rad. So yeah, we'll check in between Ethan and Dio. Any of you guys ready for your next downtime action?
So instead of actually thinking about what I wanted to do, because I keep forgetting what downtime actions are. Here we go, downtime rules.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could show you the. Yeah, if you go to downtime activities.
So I was thinking about possibly starting a long-term project to figure out what the fuck's coming from the sea.
Coming from the sea?
Yeah. Like trying to...
Well,
Like what the threat is, like coming from the sea?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
It's
save
the
you.
Empire.
yeah, the defending against sea attack.
But go ahead and give me we'll forego doing it as a downtime action. Lechusa spends some time gathering information about who's who and where people's loyalties lie. And I will tell you a little bit about what's going on, or what can be expected in terms of outside forces. If you succeed.
And what Lechusa wanted to do was speak to his friend Quellen, who he hasn't technically approached since he's come back to life.
Oh yes, Quellen the Witch. Yeah.
He's just gonna find her home, because I assume Albatross would have known where she lives.
Yes. So Quellen lives in Crowsfoot. And so you make your way over to Crowsfoot. This is the first time that we as players have actually looked at what crow's foot is. And so as you're walking across the bridge, you're kind of walking from Coleridge, which is like this almost barren stretches of land that have been flattened out in order to make room for factories and like homeless tent cities. And there's like a bunch of abandoned rail cars that people are living in, and the Skovlander refugee camp, which is surrounded by like tall barbed wire fences. But you make your way from there to this very tightly knit, like series of like tall lean-to houses built one on top of the other. They almost seem to like lean in over top of the street. And so if you were to look straight up while standing in the street, you would actually like be able to look through like someone's bedroom window if you just look straight up.
Oh shit.
But you kind of move down these like very narrow streets, and you find where Quellen lives. You knock at the door, and it just opens. You see a very elderly woman. She's probably, realistically, she's about 65, but she looks like she's about 90. And she's like leaned over a cauldron, and she's stirring it and cackling maniacally. She says, and
As
then
they do.
as she looks up and she's like, "Oh, Lechusa, is that you? My eyes aren't what they used to be, but I only know one man with the cowl of an owl."
Are you sure? I'm sure there was many more that you knew before, but yes, it is me. I've cheated death once again, I think.
Oh, well, that's very nice. That's very good for you to cheat death. I, for one, welcome it, but it won't come. 'Tis a curse. And she continues to stir this cauldron with two hands. She's got like a broom inside of it. You can smell.
Which side?
You can
It's
smell.
a broom, right?
I don't know if it's a broom. I just grab what I grab. Anyways, I'm making soup. Would you like some soup?
Memory serves me right. That soup. You know what? Fuck it. Well, what do you have to serve?
Yeah. So she serves you up the soup. She pulls it out. It's like dark maroon red, and she just pours it into a wooden bowl and hands it to you. And the two of you talk. And go ahead and give me this gather information roll. What are you gonna ask Quellen about? And you can give yourself a +1 to whatever you roll, because Quellen is gonna help you. Are you gonna just ask her outright, or are you gonna like
just
do a ritual?
If she would know, I mean, it would be. It was considered. I was considering it maybe like as a ritual of sorts, or not a ritual, but like just kind of like a
weird witchiness.
Yeah, trying to kind of sense what could be out in the open that they could know, or even asking her as well, if she would have gathered any information or if would have known of anything out in the seas that would scare the Imperium.
Yeah. Okay. So you got to make an action roll. Be control over standard effect, whatever it is you're rolling. And you give yourself +1 die because Quellen is assisting. But what is your action roll going to be? And that will help me describe what happens.
Given that both Quellen and Lechusa would have been, experts in the supernatural, he would request to see if maybe they can astral project and try to figure out what would be out in the sea, and support each other in trying to, I guess, be protected in the process.
No worries. So I'm gonna say no to astral projection because that feels like a special ability.
Okay.
But what I will do is Quellen returns back to the cauldron. And it's like this boiling pot of red blood soup. If you've ever had blood pudding or blood soup, Polish specialty, Tekarosi fare. It's not my favorite, but some people really like it. But the soup itself was delicious as far as you're concerned. But she grabs like a jar with just like this kind of like awful smelling green liquid and pours it into the blood soup.
The missing ingredient for the difference between soup and like magical component.
Yeah. And it goes from red to like completely transparent. And then she sticks her face right into the boiling water.
Not gonna lie, the intrusive thought for Lechusa was doing the same thing. So
yeah, well, she's down there for a moment, and then she pulls her head out, and she's completely fine. No burns or anything, and she's like, "Well, are you going to take a look? Come." And she kind of grabs your hair and shoves your face in, and then she joins you.
What do we see?
Did you make the roll?
I'm gonna do a tune with a +1.
There you go.
Whoa!
You got a success, and so you'll get some good information. So there, the Imperial Navy. You kind of like, as you're like looking out, you can kind of almost feel like you stick your head into this boiling water, but you just feel like the cool rush of air blowing across as you like are kind of standing up. Like you can't see, like you're just seeing and you can feel it, but like you're not visible in this scene. But you see like a large military vessel, like this big long galleon ship, kind of like very angular, and like there's like almost like frills to make it look like a dragon.
And would they have had this ship like throughout the years? Is this like a new modern technology that they have?
No, this is just the way that the Imperial military decorates their ships. It's very like they have like this dragon motifs, like they're kind of like fearsome sea drakes.
Ceremonial.
Overcompensating as always.
But you see this one ship, and then like the kind of camera kind of pans back, and like you see like there's like dozens of men kind of manning the ship. There's a captain in like this pomp and circumstance uniform, wearing like a white wig as he points and like shouts orders at people. And it zooms back, and you see that there's probably like a few hundred of these ships making their way towards Duskfall. And then you see Bear, a large absolute pirate of a man, for lack of a better word. He's like almost 7 feet tall, easily 350 pounds, and he's got a big old smile on his face. He's standing there with a woman that's just a little bit older than him. She'd be like in her late 30s, and the two of them are on board a single vessel. You see that they have these barrels, and they're throwing them into the water. But before they do, they kind of stab a hole in it, and there's like this like I want to say like blue liquid that pours out that you see just kind of spill onto the deck as they kick it over the side. You also see that there's some conflict going on within the Leviathan Hunter Guild Hall, with Lord Strangford dead. his entire company is beginning to fall apart. And you see that they're arguing about what they should do in the upcoming conflict. You just hear shouts and yells of, it's not, this is our city. Like, they're going to come here and they're just going to start slaughtering people. Like, that's what they do. Any of you ever been to Scoveland? Like, I was there for the Unity Wars. And then you hear other people being like, no, our allegiances lie to Akaros and the Imperium. Of course, this is our city, but it's their city. And there's a lot of like back and forth as people are yelling and shouting, and captains are losing control of their crew. Even some fistfights start occurring. You again, going back to the docks, you see that the Imperial Navy presence that's always been in the city seems very anxious. It's just one single ship, as much as it is large, and there's maybe like 80 or 60 men easily aboard this ship. They are setting up defensive barriers and things like that because they are afraid that the citizenry may begin to attack them at any moment. Trying to think of noteworthy people.
I'll give you 1 second, Aaron. Dio, one quick thing, because you looked a little confused when Aaron mentioned Bear. Bear is a character that predates you jumping onto this campaign. He was there for like the first few episodes. He was he's this big dude. If you go into like there's the characters tab, you can go NPCs, and he's one of the first ones there. You can see what it looks like. He's a big dude. He helped us break out of prison, and then we left him stranded on the shore, and he kind of got a little ticked, and then we let that thread sit, and then the other person that we left on the shore, we left a few people. It's kind of my bad.
Just two.
Just
Well,
one
one guy,
died.
but he ran off and did his own thing. That was his own problem.
Oh,
yeah.
Crazy guy.
Sawtooth made it out.
yeah, Sawtooth.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, you didn't abandon him so much as he ran away, but
Exactly.
It's distracting. Yeah. Go ahead.
But yes, and Bear is also canonically like he's a member of the Foghounds, which is like a smuggling group. They smuggle goods in and out of the city via ship.
Did
But
he
yeah,
just drop?
yeah, like basically what you see is that you do see that, and I'll even go as far as to say, like on the land, through the area that you once traveled from the north, you do see that the military itself is moving, and there's a moment where you see like this large imposing horse that's just like probably like double the size of a regular horse, like surrounded in like the midst of this like charging platoon. You see a man wearing like almost like a lich like uniform, just like a full black set of armor, sword at his side, wearing a full helm, his face obscured. And he turns and looks right at you. And then the visions fade, and you can feel the heat of the water. And Krellin pulls your head out of the waters, and she's like, "Why would you leave your head in there? It's starting to burn."
I'm gonna be honest, it felt a little nice for a bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It appears that like there are certain factions that are on the fence, and everyone else kind of has taken a side. But you get the feeling that a lot of the criminals are actually preparing to step up and actively take part in this battle against the Imperial Army, because increased Imperial presence would make it more difficult to commit crimes.
That's been our experience.
I mean, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Lechusa's all for it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Ethan.
Yeah. All right. So, I have a few follow-up things from the beginning, talking about Vey in prison and how that all went, because I ended up rolling 4 6s, which I really just want to go back to that moment because like that was like such a great highlight that didn't really keep going in for. But with that, part of that involves getting an additional faction point, right? And so with how that works, just real quick on like the dynamic side, is that do you have to go from the weak hold to a stronghold, and then from a stronghold into a weak hold at like the next tier? If that makes sense.
Not for getting a faction bonus.
Okay, so like the as an example, the Ingrates.
That's a description of where their faction is sitting. In like similarly to you are tier 2 with the weak hold.
Okay, so that's just where they're sitting to their tier, not their friendliness status of things.
Yeah. You can go anywhere between -3 and +3. That's the faction status bonus.
Okay, that's fair. So if that's the case, final meta question then is it better to have more people that are friends or more people that are allies?
I would say that having anyone in the positive, so 1, 2, or 3, and having a common enemy would make them more likely to actively listen to, assist you, and not just like completely forget that you even exist. So moving someone from neutral to positive is better. Though, for instance, like if you push Lord Skurlock all the way back up to 3 because you did take a hit with him, or you rely on the Dockers, they may actually go out of their way to protect you and the university during this conflict.
Oh, Skurlock's a good one too.
And without Albatross, it might actually end up being easier too.
Yeah, now that he's out of the equation, it does change that. Okay.
Lechusa will also actively not seek out Lord Skurlock. He'll be like, "Oh, wait, he's on the phone. Tell him I'm not here. I'm not here."
Shut up, I'm not here.
Stay off the radar. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, you could take some time and boost your stats with the Weeping Ladies. You could push your standing with the Foundation if you wanted to move up to 2. If you wanted to get in contact with Bear, then he would be able to help in some other ways. But there's other
I guess
factors.
that was the other thing too, right? Is it's like I was looking at this and I'm like, oh, and to be honest, the Foundation is what I was looking at because I wasn't quite sure how it would work out, and I'm like, oh, like they're a tier 4, pushing them up, beyond associates into friends might be nice, but then you also kind of like threw in, just the whole back and forth going on with with Bear, and then I think the Dockers, or not the Dockers, the Leviathan Hunters they're too low to make a boost. And I don't think there's a difference between enemies and I don't know what the one stat or the -1 status is, like the one less than that's not neutral, but I don't think that
the
would make a big
difference is whether or not they'll go out of their way to hurt you. So -1 means if you happen to be at the same crime scene, they might take a shot at you. 2 is like they'll actively start fucking with you, and 3 is like you're at war. But yeah, I would say the Foundation makes sense. If you want to like add like another faction that you guys can rely on, you can pick one from the list. I don't care. You could get in good with the Bluecoats, who have no one has checked in to see how they feel about this war.
Oh, I guess we have the blue coats and the gray coats then, because neither of them are on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the blue coat? Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I like that. Let's just take the like. I'm like, it's so funny. I sit here and I'm like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, I think I'll do this. Yep, this is good. This is good. And then happy I pay attention because like 2 minutes ago it's like, oh, we could do that. Cool. All right, so yeah, let's do the blue coats. Let's bring them up from a neutral. They're like a tier 4, right?
Yes.
Or
Tier 3.
Three?
Tier 3.
Yeah, tier 3. That's good enough. All right, so I'm going to. It's definitely going to be with. Well, actually, say that.
I think it'll be the last conversation for tonight. We're going to continue downtime in the next episode.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You get a visit from none other than Jaren.
So I'm assuming this is, or no, sorry. Let me jump into it. I thank you so much for coming to visit Ironhook Prison. It's feeling larger every day. But how can I, to what do I owe the honors?
He's glaring at you. Honestly, I was sent here because we know each other. The lieutenant of the Charter Hall district asked me to reach out. So you know that this is we'll call him the Master at Arms because I don't actually know how this goes. But he's basically like the head of the Bluecoats has asked Jaren to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate to do this. I do not want to be here. But I've been given orders to have you talk to your people. There's a war.
And what? Go ahead.
There's a war coming, as I'm sure you know. You seem to get your nose in just about everything. And, well, apparently you have some influence here in the prison. Apparently you have some influence out in Six Towers and with Lord Skurlock. The Bluecoats work for the city council. And the city council has told us that we're supposed to stand against the imperial military. I don't think anyone's ready to do that. But the Master at Arms has offered you a pardon.
Well, that is quite the offer, and I'll tell you, I'm excited to hear it. Not just the pardon, but like the whole coming together and joining up as a team. And I bet you our friend Ludes would be more than happy to have heard that. It's a shame that he's not here right now. I'll tell you, you got yourself a deal. Absolutely. I will. I'll go through and we'll talk and we'll see what this Imperial scum, how hard they hit, because it is going to be hard, and there's definitely some amount of teamwork that's needed here to get through what I'm expecting is going to be a very hard year.
He just gruffly kind of nods, and he hands a piece of paper to one of the men there, and he says, 2 days, on the middle hour, just bring your crew down to the precinct, and he's agreed to meet with you and the rest of you as well.
appreciate the offer. We'll be there.
And there's a moment where he looks at you, and in his look of disdain kind of falters for a moment, and he's just like, for what it's worth, the first time you came here, I am sorry that happened.
Oh. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this moment.
For an apology?
Yeah, right? It's,
How dare you spring an emotional moment on me?
yeah. You know, taken aback a little bit and kind of recomposing himself.
Looking at your traumas.
Yeah. No, that is fair. That is. I'm like, we might deal with that trauma in him at a later point, I think. But you know, I've spent a lot of time thinking how much you went and tried to ruin my life, but you know, I gotta thank you, because you know, if it weren't for you, I'd have your job, and you know, I'll tell you, I could do a lot better than that. So I really do appreciate it.
Okay. That's all you get from him. He 2 days at the middle hour. I suppose I don't know if I'll be part of that meeting or not, but try to make it. And he leaves.
So did he give me a get out of jail free card then? I take it.
Yeah. They is no longer in prison.
Wow.
To be fair, we do have like 2 wanted level and a full tick there, which that was the other thing to get up to this session if there's time, but I don't know where things are at. Maybe that's a next session thing.
Get the part in, and then just like look at everybody. It's like, hey guys, guess what? I'm going back.
We're going back in, baby.
Longer this time.
Like, God damn it! You just got out. What are you doing back here?
I'm just here for vacation, guys. Don't worry. It's I do have.
How
to
do you
go
know
back.
I couldn't leave you guys? I love it here too much.
I'm back.
Yeah. Well, that actually would be a way to handle it. Is you come out, do this meeting, meet some people, have a couple drinks, and then go like, I'm going back to prison, and I'm just going to clear all our wanted level.
It is. I have thought of it as I see the wanted level go up now. There's an amount of like, I pay that bill, don't I? And so it's yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
But yeah, you have some time to think about that because we are at the end of tonight's session. One last thing, Dio, before we end. Lord Skurlock returns to his study. He sits down and he's got a series of notes scrawled out everywhere, as well as 9 spirit bottles lined up. He draws a 9-sided star, which is a thing you can do. In between these bottles. And he chants some words. A single piece of quartz falls from above him and just clatters onto the table in between. And that is the end of tonight's session.
What could it mean?
What could it mean?
What's in the quartz? What's in the quartz?
But yeah, Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to today's episode. Reach out on the Facebook. Come check out our Discord. We're streaming every other Monday right now, and I believe we're also streaming every other Friday currently. The streaming schedule will increase as time goes on and we kind of get more stuff figured out. But for now, by the time you listen to this, I think we're actually going to be playing Lancer, which is we're doing a one shot of that, which is like a mecha TTRPG. So it's like mecha anime inspired role playing.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
is it like Gundam or is it like battle?
Yes, for both.
That's
Literally
gonna have cool character creation.
Yes, it does. So like you make a human character and then they barely matter and they have no rules about them, and then you just spend hours making a mech.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like very excited for that whole process. But with all of that being said, just like, comment, subscribe, review the podcast, all that fun stuff, and enjoy the rest of your evening. You all have a good night. And longest one yet.
All right.
Last one will take 10 minutes.